You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey folks, welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast, Thursday night live call-in show. I'm Carlos. And Carlos, and more Carlos. That's all you got tonight. It's just me, folks. Welcome to our live call-in show Thursday nights, where we take your phone calls to talk about board games and other gaming-adjacent hobby fun stuff. Don't forget, Thursday night's live call-in show is your chance to talk about what you have going on gaming. Tonight is going to be a very slow night. It is Dice Tower night. In the chat tonight, we got Bryson. Hello, Bryson. How you doing, son? Glad to see you out there. Thanks for throwing it in the chat. This week is Dice Tower Con in Orlando, Florida. The rest of the Beans and Dice crew is out there playing games right now. I don't expect to see them on tonight. They'll be back next week to give us their update on how the con went. Tonight, I'm going to go over some recent acquisitions, some games played. Hopefully, you've had a chance to play some games this past month. I know normally the first week of the month, we go over our top 20 board, and we update our top 20 board for games that we played this month. I am not going to do that. I'm not going to update my top 20 board by myself. I'm going to wait for next week. When the guys come, we can do our update of the top 20 board after we hear from them about their Dice Tower Con experience. So tonight I'll go over some recent plays. I'll give you some of my hauls, so that'll be the twig for the week. We'll jump into the news channel in our Discord. Don't forget to check out our Discord channel where we have the news. If you have any articles out there of topics that you want to discuss, definitely post an article in the news, and that's where you will see us go to talk about it. Check out our Discord. It's in the description. The link is there. You can email us at beansanddice@gmail.com. If you have any questions or comments about the show, make sure that you hit like and you hit subscribe to this episode and ring the bell so that you get alerted every time we go live. Comment below with a game that you played this week. In the comments, put in a game that you played this week or a game that you acquired this week while I give you my update on the twig. Let's go. We will open up the phone lines right now. 813-618-7099 is the number. Once again, 813-618-7099 is the phone number. We will open up the phone lines and let y'all in. If you want to call in to talk about what you've been up to gaming, the phone lines are open. Call in now. All right. Let's get into some games played this week. It was a rough week for me. I was out of town for work last week. I know that we didn't do a show, but I did get some gaming in during that time. We'll start off with some hauls, right? Some acquisitions that came in during that time since last episode. Right off the bat, I got some Wine Cellar in. Wine Cellar is a game by 25th Century Games. It is designed by Andrew Stiles with the artwork from Vincent Dutrait. So that came in. Was super excited about that. Wayne taught us how to play, and after his teach, I really enjoyed it, and I ordered my own copy. I pre-ordered one. I think he had already pre-ordered at one point, so I had to wait a little while for that to come in. Another game that came in for me was Toy Battles. Toy Battles is a game by... Actually, it's two designers. I keep saying Paolo Mori. Paolo Mori is one of the designers on here. Alessandro Zucchini is the other designer. This is a 1v1 head-to-head battler based off of Paolo Mori's experience. He's to me, he's a prolific designer when it comes to all types of different games, like different variety of war games, some Euro-style games. But here he takes it into the wargame realm in such a clean-cut way. This is Toy Battle by Paolo Mori. And then finally, my last acquisition is Imperial Assault Twin Shadows. Imperial Assault Twin Shadows is a expansion to Imperial Assault. And in Twin Shadows, you are... this expansion really was needed for me, because the game plays off of an app. And the app itself has a special mode in the app called. Man, I'm trying to remember the name of the mode. But it lets you effectively fight waves of battles. Let's see how long you can endure. And I needed this expansion, this very specific expansion. I needed it in order to get the that mode unlocked. So this is something I'm very happy to get in. But we got a caller on the phone. Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
This is Ron from Atlanta.
Hello, Ron Frazier. You're hanging out with me and just me on the Dice Tower Can't, while everybody else is at Dice Tower Con.
Thinking something like that.
That's what's going on. What you got going on, brother?
I've gotten back into the board game, right? Like, I played a game on BGA with Wayne. I'd rather you guys play games. You and Carlos did a game. But that's neither here nor there. So, I want to talk about a couple of my recent acquisitions. One of which is familiar to you. It's the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring trick taking game.
You brought that one up last time you called.
Yep.
Glad to hear you picked it up.
Yeah. So, you guys know how it's played. And I played a few games of it solo, but I've only played the 2-player configuration. So I played, both of the full hands, basically double-handed, and then with the dummy hand.
Right.
Because my read of the solo rules, I didn't like the way that read. Right, like I like I like having the dummy hand that's basically you're drafting the cards like it's everyone to school. It's a game that I love, and it's still a challenge solo, right? And I can still have that puzzle going on, even if I know the cards in both of the four hands. And it's great. I played it tonight at my adventure TV with a guy, another guy, 2-handed, 2-player co-op. Art's fantastic. I've gotten up to chapter 3, and it's a ton of fun. Don't really want to give it the beans because I haven't. Because the folks already know about it.
Right. I wanted to give it the beans, but I feel like I haven't got fully deep into it yet, so I've got some opportunity to get farther. I think I've gotten maybe 6 or 7 chapters in between 2-player and 1-player. I really want to get a multiplayer game in.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice. It would be nice for me to get 3 players in. You know how these games go. Like, the more players you have, the more difficult it becomes.
Yes. And especially when you feel like you have to keep the same players on a campaign.
Right. Exactly. You know how this goes.
Now, when it comes to this game, though, I'm really wondering this. I don't think you necessarily need to keep the same player count, because no matter what player count you're playing, you're still unlocking the same characters, the same events, the same special rules, right?
That's true. That's true. But I think it would be cool if you could. But that's not. You're right. It is certainly by no means a requirement.
Right. Now, listen, I'll tell you, before we move on to the next game, don't sleep on the 1-player mode. I get it. It reads weird. But if you enjoyed that hand, that 3rd-player hand, the unknown that comes with that hand, you'll also get some of that feeling at the 1-player when you're controlling all 4 characters, all 4 hands, but you don't have all of their cards splayed out yet. You're going to draw them as you go. So you have to make some decisions based on probabilities, and it really is going to be a good puzzle. It's much more of a puzzle at 1-player, but an enjoyable one. So don't sleep on that.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
So that's Ron talking about the LOTRFOTR
Right. So I'd have to say that that's been a pleasant surprise for me. I haven't played a lot of board games, but like just the concept. I passed on the game. I mean, I've known about it, but like you guys talking about it sold me.
Glad to
Like
hear that.
I think like a couple of days after, it had to have been last week's show, and I think a couple of days afterwards, I went to pick the game up. Okay, the other game, because I picked up 3 games. But the other game that I've actually gotten to play is Super Show, the board game.
I'm not familiar with that one. They came out with a board game?
They have a board game, yes. It's like, you're not familiar with it because, like, they literally just got it in stock last month.
This one I might be able to get into. I'm going to hear some more about it from you, but I think this one is going to be more in line with what I want, right? So not something I have to collect or get deep into, but like a one-time thing. Tell me more. Is there a special title for this? How do I find this on BGG?
It's Super Show, the board game.
One word?
Super Show it may be one word. Let me see. Let me look at the rules. I'm sorry. The official title is Super Show on the Go.
One word, Super Show, or?
Yep, one word, Super Show.
All right, I'm not finding it on BGG. Let me do some Google searching. Tell us about it.
Okay, so it's a wrestling-themed rolling moves game with a bit of the DNA from Super Show the game. So you have a character. The character has 3 skills, rated 5 to 10. You roll. It's a rolling move. You roll 2 dice. You land on a square. That colored square is the skill that you compare to the target that you choose at the beginning of the round. If your skill is higher, you roll again. If your skill is equal to or lower, in your turn, you can play a card that you've drawn previously. Once you get around the board to the title square, there's a start. There's a start end space. You get a title square. That triggers a finish roll. You roll a die. Your opponent has 3 chances to equal to or exceed that number, or you win. This game plays from 2 to 4 players. And the thing is that, like, this is very Ameritrash.
Yep.
It's unapologetically Ameritrash.
I mean, look at the theme right off the bat.
Right? And so, like, you have, under normal rules, for example, you have to get around the board to the title space, again, to trigger a finish roll. So there are cards that let you make a finish roll, like, right then and there when you play the cards. But there's a drawback to it. There's cards that make you discard your opponent's cards, move you a bunch of stations forward, move your target a bunch of stations back, all that kind of nonsense. And the thing is that, like, this game, it moves so quickly that you don't even notice. And like, I played it myself with 2 players, but tonight I got to play a couple of rounds of 4-player games. One was like it was elimination. The other one was 110 to win. And like, there'll be turns where, like, you choose your target at the beginning of the turn, and it's like you keep hitting the colors that you have greater than, so you keep on rolling to move forward. So you can move like in one turn. I moved almost all the way around the board in one go. But then like there's a card that'll move you back to the start space, or move you or your opponent a bunch of spaces forward or back. And, so it's like it's almost as if the movement, um, how far you move doesn't even matter, because there's still so many ways to mitigate dice luck and to catch up and to put your opponent back and just mess with your opponent. Um, and so in our 4-player game, like there's normal super show. There's a crowd meter that represents like the crowd getting into the match, and it goes up, and the higher it goes up, the more potent your finish rolls become. So you can actually exceed the number. You roll a 6-sided die, you can end up rolling like a 7, 8, or whatever. You can end up rolling a 12, right? So obviously 12 is greater than 6. But just like if you were in a three-way dance in wrestling, where somebody will come, jump in and interrupt the pin.
Yep.
You have that in Super Show, the board game, called a save roll. So someone can choose to roll with you, and if you roll the same number, you combine your number. You add it up. So that happened. We played one of our games where, like, I rolled a 7 once, and then my opponent, somebody else, ended up rolling 4 and 4, so they got an 8. Somebody rolled an 11, and we ended up and they had to get a 12 to break out. That game ended there, but we had a couple of situations where somebody rolled a 7, 8, or a 9, and then like people still like matched to break out and increase the crowd meter. It's a ton of fun.
I'm starting to wonder if you got some early access to something. I'm not seeing it on BGG. I'm not seeing it on the Super Show website, in their shop, or in their retail. I'm wondering if you just got good connections.
The Super Show the game website is not the easiest to navigate. Let's see here.
No, I'm on there now. I'm trying to find something. I'm seeing like a 4-player starter kit. I'm seeing a 2-player starter kit. I haven't seen a board game.
Just search for board game. If you search for board game, you'll see it. It's called Super Show Board Game Playmat and Game.
Let me type it in there.
Yeah, one negative I have to say though is that like it's obvious that a lot of the people that have played catches this game are like deeply embedded in the community, because even when I was playing solo games myself to try to learn the rules, I did find a couple of gaps. There's some cards with some symbols on it, and I'm like, which I pretty much figured out, but like that stuff needs to be spelled out in the rules.
I found it. I did find it. That's interesting that it took a manual search. It's only $24.99.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen much on this site that's very expensive.
It's a neoprene playmat, meeple, cards, and dice. It doesn't even come in a box. The mat comes in the tube, and So like, I have my game is in one of my check boxes, and playmat tubes that I have, and that's the game. And there's literally dozens of characters to play. Like even on the nice thing about the playmat, even on the playmat, there's like 8 characters there. So you don't even need to pull out the character cards. You can play with the characters on the mat.
And this
But
is a
anyway,
neoprene mat.
Yeah.
That's a dang good price.
Yeah. Anyway, it's clearly meant to be like it's still a game material. It's not thinky. It's not a Euro game. You're rolling dice. You're trash talking to your friends. It's a good old rum, and it tastes like depends. It doesn't take long to play.
All right, so that's Super Show, the board game. If you go to their website, you'll have to type in the search board game to find it.
Yeah. This is definitely one of those games that would not be rated highly on BGG. Not every game has to be like a Golden Geek or a Dice Tower Award.
I don't disagree. I love my Blood Bowl. And that is not going to win a Spiel des Jahres.
Right. But yeah, the third game that I've got, I haven't played yet, is that there's a version of the Crew Family Adventure. I haven't even opened it up yet, but I have an 8-year-old who will be coming from the Philippines in a couple of days with the other girls too. But I'm looking forward to playing that game.
And which game is it? What is it titled?
It's like the Crew Family Adventure.
Oh, the new one that uses like the Uno mechanism.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet.
All right, I'm gonna want to hear back from that one because that one's on my desire list. Like I desire to get that one, but I really want to know because we have the Crew, both of them, and then we've got the Lord of the Rings trick taking game, right?
Right.
And then there's the Gang, which uses like the poker mechanisms, right?
Right. Yep.
And then now there's this one, the Crew, the Family Adventure. And then when I look at my family, I want to think, okay, I want to play one of these with the family. Which one would be the best ones? But then I'm also looking at like Bomb Busters, right? That uses the Go Fish mechanism. I want to hear back from you on which one, after your play of the Family Adventure, the Crew Family Adventure, is that one good for family?
All right, I'll let you know.
The reviews are pretty lackluster on there. You see that? There's like a 5.7.
Oh, I haven't.
On the BGG?
I haven't looked. I bought it on a whim because it was so cheap and it's free. I'm just hoping that it's going to be good.
I hope so too.
I'm just hoping it's going to be good enough, enjoyable. So, yeah, that was basically it. It's been a while since I really talked about actual board game stuff, like me playing board games.
No, this is good. This is good conversation. As much as I love my Blood Bowl and my what we call lifestyle games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Board games to me just allow variety, and my personality needs that.
Right.
If there's only one constant about me, right? It's change. Like that's the one thing you can count on. I will change.
You're right. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm gonna say one more thing. Yeah. So, are you guys playing stuff on BGA, like on a regular basis?
Those two, Robert and Wayne, are always on, and they're always having games. I'll get in for a month, like get deep in a bunch of games, and then bow out. I'm always looking for, my games will end, and then for some reason I just don't restart them. But there's a couple games on there that I do want to try. Are you looking to get into some BGA?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, then I will need to set up a game for you and I.
I realize I've been on the phone 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Conversation.
I'll set up a game for you and I of Toy Battles from Paolo Mori. I'm going to talk more about it tonight. It's a 1v1 game. So I'll get us set up with some Toy Battles on BGA.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, brother. Thank you for the call.
No problem. Thank you for having the show.
I try. We try to be here. We missed last week. I was out of town, but we're back.
All right.
Good night, Ron.
All right, take care.
Phone lines are open again. 813-618-7099 is the number. I love the call-in show because I love hearing from y'all. I love hearing about what y'all are playing. Looking forward to hearing from Ron Frazier back regarding the crew family adventures, the crew using the Uno mechanisms. Thank you, Ron, for that call. You folks at home can learn a little bit from Ron. Dial in. 813-618-7099 is the number. Call in. Talk to us about what you got going on gaming-wise. All right, so I was talking about some of the hauls they came in, but I didn't get a chance to talk about plays. So I'll go into some of my recent plays, and then we'll get into a little detail on them to talk a little more specific about them. So here are my recent plays in the last couple of weeks since we've had a show. So I've had some more games of Foundation of Metropolis, and then subsequent to that, and I know that I ended my last episode where I shared, Robert and I did a little timed challenge of me setting up the game of Foundation of Metropolis, and I was able to set it up in about 2 minutes and 9 seconds. So a two-player game set up out of the box, 2 minutes and 9 seconds, Foundation Metropolis. But subsequent to that, I have played a ton of Toy Battle. When I say a ton, I'm looking at least 9 different plays of Toy Battle in the last week or so. Got to play some Wondrous Creatures with Mitch out in New Iberia, Louisiana. I'll talk a little bit about that. And then got some Wine Cellar played. So let's talk about Wondrous Creatures first. So I'm out of town for work, driving through the state of Texas. We're using it as a family vacation time as well. So we're coming back from San Antonio. On our way back, we were making some stops in different cities. I decided to stop in New Iberia, which is Mitch's hometown. So I decided, we'll make a stop there. That way the next day we can go enjoy some of New Orleans. It's not too far from where Mitch is from in New Iberia. So I set up a night at the Hampton Inn. Mitch and Connor, friends of the show, as they say, Mitch, the founder of Beansanddice, he shows up at the hotel in the lobby, and he teaches me a game of Wondrous Creatures. Wondrous Creatures is a beautifully done, well-produced game about collecting different creatures in a fantastical land. So you're going to have this hex board where you're going to place your workers. You get 3 workers on the hex board that you're going to place. When you place on a hex spot, you're going to be able to affect the adjacent hexes. So the hexes that you're adjacent to, depending on what type of terrain they are, either coral or fruit or I'm trying to remember what the last one was. There's like 3 or 4 different types of terrain. You can go adjacent to where you are and use that terrain to either gain resources to increase your tracks, or you use that terrain to buy cards on the board so you can build your tableau. You're going to collect these monsters from the marketplace to build your tableau. They're going to have instant effects. They're going to have end game scoring effects, And they're also going to have refresh effects. Refresh is when you run out of workers. You get 3 workers. Once you've placed all your workers, then at a certain point, you're going to have to refresh. You get some refresh abilities. The cool part about the workers and the hex board, I talked about how you impact the spaces adjacent to you. All of your workers are 2 hexes long. So they're not like a meeple. It's more of like a long creature that you can ride. My creature looked like the dog from what is that? This story, what is it? Never-ending Story. That kind of a dog, or from Avatar, like you're riding a long dog. That kind of a creature, like a long wolf creature. And when you place it, you're going to cover 2 hexes. So in the direction that you place it will cover 2 hexes. So now you're impacting all these hexes around your 2 hex meeple. So you're getting to make decisions on collecting resources from those areas or collecting eggs from those areas, as well as collecting cards. So you got a lot of decisions when you place. It's a lot of geometry there in deciding how to place your creature to try to impact the areas that you need, so resources that you need in order to do the things you want to do. Once you have the cards in your hand, you have to spend resources to play them. So you want cards, right? You want to spend the spots for cards, but you also need resources in order to move them from your hand to the board. What's really cool is as you complete these achievements in the game and you get these trophies while you're playing, once you unlock your first achievement, your character gets to come into play. Each player will have an asymmetric character that has a very special ability on their own. They do their own thing. But you don't have access to that character until you've completed at least one of the special achievements on the boards, these trophies that are lined up on the board. Once you do that, you get to signify the unlocking of that hero, that character, by placing a meeple straddling one of your mounts, your creatures that you're mounted on. What's cool is each meeple has a little magnet on it, and there's a specific mount, a specific meeple that has a magnet. So you can just like lock it in place. Bloop, just drop it in there and it locks in on that creature. Whenever you place that worker from now on, it's an upgraded worker. So it becomes kind of like your Grande meeple. He or she is special. They have a special ability that they can use. So that was interesting. I really like that. The timer for the board were these trophies. You're going to have all these trophies across the board. And as you complete certain objectives, meaning collect a certain number of creatures of a certain type, or collect a certain number of eggs of a certain type, or hatch a number of eggs, you're going to get to be the first one to go to that achievement and then take the achievement as well as the points that go with it. Other players can also go to those spots, but they're going to get less points. So for all those reasons, it becomes kind of a race. And then as your tableau improves and you build your tableau, your engine gets better, you're actually knocking out these achievements so much faster. So in like the first, I would say 2/3 of the game, it's kind of a little more slow paced that you're going. But then once you get past that 2/3, it gets nuts. Like at that point, people are knocking out achievements so fast, the game ends a lot faster than you expect. Overall, I had a really good experience with playing Wondrous Creatures in the sense of it was a fun, thinky puzzle, trying to decide what cards to buy, what decisions to make when I placed my worker down, how I wanted to use their actions or their available resources. But where I struggled was the theme. I felt like I really wasn't connected to this theme. There was no IP to it. There's nothing I'm familiar with about Wondrous Creatures. They're beautiful artwork. Every card was a different card. Every creature, it was a deck. It was a huge deck, like an Arc Nova deck of cards, right? Of every card having a different artwork and a different creature with a different name and a different theme to each creature. However, I didn't connect with it. It didn't jive with me. So for all those reasons, I would call this one more of a try is what I feel on it in my first play. But it was a beautiful experience. The board was gorgeous. The pieces were gorgeous. The 2-layer boards, the magnetic meeples, the worker meeples that are mounts. It was just all very much a gorgeous game. And that was Wondrous Creatures. Thank you to Mitch. Thank you to Connor for teaching me Wondrous Creatures out in New Iberia, Louisiana. More gaming that I got in while I was in San Antonio. So I took my copy of Toy Battles with me. It arrived the day that I was leaving. Like the day before, that evening, I got my copy of Toy Battles in. So I packed it in the bag, punched it, packed it, took it with me. Was looking forward to getting it played. Now, I had a lot of work stuff ahead of time, so I had no time to play before, but once I got all the work stuff knocked out, I was able to get it played. We took it with me to the Alamo. So I took my son over to the Alamo to go check out the museum, the Alamo site, the battle that occurred there at the site of the Alamo. We spent a lot of time enjoying that. After that, we pulled over to the side, just outside the Alamo. They have a lot of seating, a lot of benches, a lot of places to hang out. We hung out and played Toy Battles by Paolo Mori and Alessandro Zucchini. This little battler game is legit, period. Legit, lots of fun. Paolo Mori also designed Blitzkrieg, also designed Caesar, also designed, I have a whole shelf, the Ethnos Libertalia. He did Pandemic Follow Rome. I mean, he is prolific. I think he is a designer that Pocket Battles. He did Battalion, the Ancient Wars, which is his new war game. He does a lot of battling game. This one is a 1v1, and it's right in that ilk of competitive battlers. And it is so well produced. But what's interesting about this battler game, the things that are interesting are the things that made me like shy away from it to begin with. And that's the toy battle theme. So the idea, imagine like a Toy Story, right? So all these toys that are alive. Think of the movie from the 90s, right? The Toy Soldiers, where you had the toys that came alive and were battling each other. That's the kind of feel. And I wasn't sure how I like that theme. I like my war games. I like my historical based games. So for all those reasons, I kind of didn't give this one a look. And I'm glad I actually thought, you know what, let's give it a try. Because I think going with that toy experience, that toy theme, really allows him to explore a lot of different mechanisms and terrains for this game. So I'm kind of showing you some of the box components. Of course, you're going to get your rule book. It's just, I think, 5 pages of rules in this game, and it's very sparse text. Not a lot of rules. This is very simple. On your turn, you either draw 2 troops or you place a troop. Those are your choices on the actions. You're going to have a total of 8 different troops. Each troop has a different special effect as well as a power, so like a number or ranking. Each troop also gets its own terrain board, and this is where it gets real cool, is there are 8 different terrain boards, and each troop has their own like home base that you're battling on. 2 players will battle on a home space. Each player has a headquarters that they have to defend. If the opponent takes your headquarters, the game is over. It's an insta-win. There's also going to be medals on the board in between the different bases that are on the board, so a space, also called a base. They're going to be connected by paths. If you control a number of bases that completes a geometric shape, so like a triangle or a square, depending on how many bases there are, if you control a region and surround the medals, you also earn the medals. Each board has a goal for medals that you can win by, so there's 2 different win conditions. One is going to be gaining a number of medals equal to the medal goal. So in this game, there are 7 medals is the goal. Or you can place one of your troops on top of the opponent's headquarters, and you instantly win. If ever a player is not able to draw 2 troops or to place a troop, the game also ends, and then the player with the most medals wins. So there's 3 ways to end the game. Really, you're going to win by either getting medals or by taking someone's headquarters. Every board has a theme. Like I said, each character in the game has their own board. So there's a rubber ducky, there's a skull, there's Captain, the toy soldier, there's Jumbo, the knight, there's Hook, the parachuting monkey, pirate monkey at that. Then there's XB42, which is a robot, and then Star the unicorn and Roxy the T-Rex. So here you can see this is XB42, the robot's board. It's a mechanical board. It's got lightning bolts. It prevents you from using special effects. That's the special effect on this board. This board for Captain is a sandcastle at the beach where you're going to try to take over these toy soldier outposts. And whenever you do a toy soldier outpost, you get to snipe and actually shoot at one of your opponent's toy soldiers on the rack to take them out. So you can see how every character has a different board and has a different ability. So it really allows Palomori, by going with this toy feature, the breadth and depth of all these different ideas, like settings and even rule sets. So I'm really enamored with this Toy Soldiers game, or Toy Battles game. Palomori and Alessandro Zucchini. Toy Battles, I can't recommend it enough right now. It is a hot game. I took it with me to Louisiana, taught it to Mitch and Connor, and then we played a lot. I think I posted some videos over this week of some of the battles so you can see each of the locations and how they play. That's Toy Battles. Really loved it. Phone lines are still open. 813-618-7099 is the number for anyone that wants to call in. We're talking board games and games that I've been playing. All right, let's talk another game I've been playing. This is called Wine Cellar. Wine Cellar, and it's, again, Andrew Styles and artwork by Vincent Dutre. This is a beautiful game. Well done, beautiful game. Very sparse, and this is what I really liked about it when Wayne taught it. And what I mean by sparse is the components are 2 decks of cards. Like, that's it. It's 2 decks of cards. But what's interesting is you're going to have your wine cards, which are this long rectangular shape, where I'm struggling to figure out how to shuffle these cards because they are long, very interesting. The cards have numbers on them equal to the value of the card, and then there's a rank equal to the power of the card. The cards have 2 and there also is a country of origin. So you're going to see a country of origin, for example, this one is Spain. The cards have 3 different aspects that matter. Again, the rank, the country of origin, and then the value based on where it's placed in your wine cellar. You're going to create a wine cellar of 8 cards. So as you play it, you're going to have 8 cards. When you end the game, you'll have 8 cards in front of you, and each card will be worth a number of points based on where it's located in your wine cellar. So as an example, this card here, if it was the top card of your stack, would be worth 5 points because 5 is the one slot for it. And this card here, if it was in your second spot, would then be worth 2 points in that spot. And then finally, your 8th and last card will be based on the 8th number on the card, and this card here, for example, would be worth 8 points. So you're trying to pick up these cards and get them and purchase them in a certain order because the limitation when you play is you'll pick a card, you'll bid, you'll pick a card based on who won the bids, and then that card has to be placed in your wine cellar either on top of or below the wine that are already in your cellar. So you can't put one in between cards. You can only place it either above or below the set of cards you already have. So you're really making decisions on what's in the market. Do I want to buy? Do I want to be the first one to pick on this one? Does it really matter? If it really does, then I need to bid high. Bidding high is going to allow me to pick it and then place it in the right place. But then each player is going to have a customer that they're shopping for. Every customer is going to have some items that they're seeking. So they're going to have 2 different wine types that they're trying to get. So the top 2 are the 2 different wine types, and then it's going to be followed by countries of origin that they are desiring. So you want to meet your objectives for your client in order to get them the wines that they're seeking. So, for example, this client, Ken Stone, is seeking some white wines. You get 2 bonus points for every white wine you have in your cellar. And red wines, you get 1 bonus point for every red wine in your cellar. And in a 1 or 2 player game, this client is seeking any wine from France. So you get a bonus 3 points for every wine from France in your wine cellar at the end of the game. The real fun part of the game is you'll start out with 8 cards in your hand, and you'll use each one of those to bid. Any cards that were used for bidding purposes will then become the wine that are used in the bidding in the subsequent round. So whatever you bid with is going to be what you are buying in the next round, and that was really interesting. I got to enjoy this one playing 2-player with my wife, Melissa, as well as solo. So let me tell you a little bit about the solo game. Super simple rule set for the solo game. You're going to play against a character named Eno, E-N-O. Eno is going to be flipping cards from their deck, from their hand, onto the table after you've selected a card, and they will have 2 cards in front of them based on the card you chose to bid with. If you bid higher than Eno, you get the pick of the wine that are for sale, the first one. Eno will then take the next one that's available and toss it. They don't keep a wine cellar, so it'll just get put back in the box. If Eno bids higher than you, Eno gets to take one of the wines that are on sale based on the client they have using those preferences. So that's how Eno's going to work. So you really get a lot of info about Eno because, number one, before the round starts, though, Eno will have 1 card face up that he's using for bidding, but he's going to flop a second card and you'll use the highest number of his 2. So you already have some information about what Eno's bidding. You can tell what card is currently face up for Eno. Number 2, you know Eno's preference order because you see Eno's client card. So you know the types of wine that Eno is seeking, and you know the countries of origin that Eno is seeking. And knowing that means you can, if you're good at it, you can manipulate your bids and the right time to bid in order to score the points you need to score. There'll be times where you want to make sure you throw lower than Eno because you can get rid of a card you don't desire, so like a low-ranking card, not a powerful card. But you'll know that Eno's priority is going to give him a card you don't desire. Maybe the other card that is on sale is the one you want, but you know Eno will take the other one first. So it's a little bit of thinkiness in there in deciding when to bid high, when to bid low. The solo game plays, I think, like less than 5 to 7 minutes is what it takes to play a solo match in Wine Cellar. Really been enjoying it. Wine Cellar, 25th Century Games. And that's it for my plays this week. That's what I've gotten played. At this point, I'm going to jump over into the Discord, and we're going to take a peek and see if anybody has any articles in the news. Phone number is 813-618-7099 is the number. Call in, talk to me about what games you've got going on. I know the guys in Dice, the gentlemen that are out in Dice Tower, Wayne, Rob, and all the Beans and Dice folks are out there playing games tonight. So I doubt we're going to hear from them tonight, but I want to get into the news articles to see what's been cracking out there. All right, so I'm in the Discord. I'm in the news. The only things that have come up in the news since the last show include Lost Ruins of Arnak, the digital teacher. I think we talked about that. There was a release of a trailer for Hail Mary Project. I think Andy Weir is the author. He's the same author that did Manhattan Project. It was a book that I really enjoyed. My son sent me a link to YouTube where there was a trailer to the film that's coming up. And I think it's the guy that did the Notebook. What's his name? Ryan Gosling or something. He's the main actor in this film. Andy Weir did a great job with Hail Mary. It's a combination of sci-fi and actual science. So it really does a good job of blending that, and it's very humorous. I saw the trailer. I don't know what y'all thought about it. I really enjoyed the trailer. I'm very optimistic about this film. Looking forward to seeing what I read on screen. But it looks like so far they're doing a good job of trying to keep the funny. That there's very funny moments in the book itself. I'm hoping, and I'm seeing so far in the trailer, they're keeping that heaviness of the topic, but with the lightness that the character brings to it. We'll see how that goes. I know then Wayne posted to me a link to another YouTube trailer, and it was the trailer for Naked Gun. So it's a new upcoming Naked Gun film that Wayne was showing me. Seems like he's excited about. I know I'm a little excited about, a little nostalgia for Naked Gun from when I was a kid. It was hilarious. But this time it's Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson and I think Pamela Anderson are the main 2 characters in this movie, and it looks funny. I think I worry that we're kind of redoing or rehashing places that we've been, and it's like, why do that? Come up with your own topics, your own ideas. However, seeing Liam Neeson play this funny cop character who he himself doesn't purposely behave funny, so it's almost like a Mr. Magoo kind of a funny, like we're laughing at him, not with him. I'm happy to see that. I'm excited for that Naked Gun trailer. Wayne posted that in my news. And then there was an article about hobby shops in Quebec. There was an article that I saw an article before this, but Wayne posted up a video talking about game shops in Quebec and some of the struggles they're having. There's new language laws that are going into effect in Quebec that talk about all products needing to have French language versions to be sold in stores in Quebec. And the game shops are really concerned. They're concerned because not many of the games, board games, card games, role-playing games that they sell have a translation in French or come in multiple languages. It's all, for the most part, English. So it's all English on there. So they're worried that these new laws will mean that they can't sell any of the product that they currently sell, that they can only sell it online to people outside of Quebec. So it's going to be real interesting to see how this proposed law impacts the folks in Quebec and the gaming in Quebec. I know we have some Canadian friends that call in on occasion to talk about board gaming. Would love to hear their thoughts as well. We had comments in there from like BG Potato that it's a law that's stupidly applied, but I understand where it's coming from. And then Vader John says, well, their national language is both English and French, Canadian, just like ours is English and Spanish. But this law is one for the books for driving commerce out of Quebec that isn't manufactured there. So some very hot topics lately in board gaming manufacturing and production and tariffs. Looks like, the Quebec is Canada is not immune. They've got some stuff going on there too. All right. And that gets me to the end of my topics. Was hoping for some more callers tonight, but that's okay. I understand it is Dice Tower Con, and you're here with me, Carlos, at Dice Tower Can't, because can't be there, so I'm here with you. For those of you that can't be there, you're here with me on the Beans and Dice show. I want to take a moment to see what's going on in the Dice Tower East chat in our Discord to see what kind of games are being played out there. So when I look at the Dice Tower East, let's take a peek here. I'm going to pull it up on the channel, and let me share my screen, and y'all can tour with me what's going on out there at Dice Tower. All right, so in the Dice Tower, we've got some, they're looking like they're setting up some Thunder Alley for the evening. Looks like what looks like Potion Explosion being played. With the playmat and the new set. So it looks like Wayne and Nick are out there getting some Potion Explosion in. Oh, it looks like William is being taught some Kinfire Delve. Rob taught me that, so William's out there playing some Kinfire Delve. They've got some Wonderland's War being played. And I'm not 100% sure what this one is. I think I've seen it before. It's with the Rivers. Boone Lake. There you go. Boone Lake being played out there. Got Wayne and Jim Odak getting some what looks like heavy Euro being played. I think this is the Galactic Cruise is what it looks like to me. Dan was out there selling at the virtual flea market. They've got a private gaming room for the private Tampa gaming room is what they're calling it. So I guess it's a quiet room in the back, mostly Tampa folks in there. Some SETI. Rob's got some SETI out on the board. Really enjoyed my plays of SETI. Getting some good games played. Marvel Dice Throne. Virtual flea markets being sold out there. This was Rock Hard. So it looks like William is learning Rock Hard. And then some Ostia being played. Looking forward to that one going to retail. I'm uncertain what this is. I see cubes and some Age of Sail looking Empire maps. That's interesting. Pax Porphyria. I can't even pronounce that. And there's a picture of my man Mitch. He showed up for one day. Mitch went out there to Dice Tower He's out with the family in Orlando for family vacation time and decided to stop in for one day of gaming. Very, very cool of Mitch to stop in and share with the friends. So that's what the folks, the Beansanddice crew, are up to out in Orlando. And that'll wrap it up for tonight's episode. It was a quick, short one. It's just me tonight. Hopefully the guys will be back next week. I hope you all are safe and enjoying your 4th of July holiday tomorrow. Be safe. Come back next week with all your fingers intact. Watch out for your fireworks safety. I'm Carlos, one of your hosts. We'll be back next week for Thursday night live call-in show.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.